Glad to join our today's edition of news with me, Charity Chilanga. First, a look at the top stories. Pope Leo XIV's American roots spark hope for increased charitable giving. Government raises minimum wage by 40%, effective immediately. Fuel crisis worsens, citizens urge government to act. And in international news, women in Senegal's Kédougou region risk health using mercury for gold extraction. We do have the details to these and many other stories. Stay tuned. The election of Pope Leo XIV, the first pope born in the United States, has generated optimism among charitable organizations supporting the Holy Father's humanitarian aid projects. Watts Fitzgerald, the president of the Pope Foundation's board, believes the Pope's American roots may lead to increased donations for the poor and the vulnerable. More details in this Catholic News Agency report being read by Fales Chizombe.
The Pope Foundation, funded by donations from its stewards of St. Peter, supports humanitarian aid projects designated by the Pope and the continuing education of priests and religious. Fitzgerald attributes the potential increase in donations to the Pope's native English-speaking background, which could facilitate better communication and catalyze the faith and the Holy See's causes. He described Pope Leo XIV as a compassionate conservative with a philosophy rooted in three pillars: the harmony of faith and reason, leading people to Christ, and a deep concern for the poor and marginalized. Fitzgerald hopes for increased transparency in Vatican finances and better stewardship of its real estate under Pope Leo XIV pontificate, believing that clear communication about the Vatican's capital allocation would garner more support worldwide. The Pope Foundation is expected to continue supporting humanitarian aid projects and promoting the Pope's causes, potentially benefiting from the Pope's American background and increased donations.
The Congregation of the Sisters of Charity of Ottawa in the Diocese of Lilongwe on Saturday, 10th May, celebrated 180 years of its existence worldwide, as well as 25 years of sisterhood for Sister Jennifer Machamba at St. Joseph Ludzi Parish and Jinje. The celebration also included the first profession of vows for Sister Teresa Kumbanda, Sister Rosarine Kanjali, and Sister Priska Legius. Lodi Kwani has filed a report being read in our studios by Emmanuel George.
Speaking during the celebration, the Auxiliary Bishop of Chipata Diocese of Zambia, Bishop Gabriel Msipu, who was also the main celebrant of the Eucharistic celebration marking 180 years celebration of the Sisters of Ottawa, commended the sisters for their dedicated service in the Archdiocese. Bishop Msipu also emphasized the importance of recognizing the sisters' contribution in various sectors of life, especially in Malawi, as the congregation is celebrating 180 years of service. His lordship also encouraged the newly professed sisters to remain committed and contribute positively to the congregation's mission. In her remarks, regional animator of the congregation in Malawi, Sister Adria Dejeri, reaffirmed their commitment to continuing their work based on their congregation charism, which is love and compassion. Sister Jerry urged the sisters to stay dedicated to their chosen path in serving the Catholic Church. After the ceremony, Sister Rosarine Kanjeri Wanga was assigned to support the developmental project at St. Louis Convent. Sister Teresa Kumbanda has been assigned to assist in hospital service at Holy Family Convent, while Sister Priska Retius has been assigned to help with the parish activities at Girime Parish. The Congregation of Sisters of Charity of Ottawa was founded in 1845 and arrived in Malawi in 1946, establishing themselves in Girime Parish in Mchinji. Currently, the congregation has 58 sisters serving in various parishes in the Archdiocese of Lilongwe, particularly the Mchinji Dinari.
The government has announced a 40% increase in the minimum wage across various sectors, with the new rates taking effect immediately. Labour Minister Peter Dimba, speaking at a press briefing area today, said the adjustment was influenced by several economic factors, including the recent devaluation of the kwacha, inflation, limited foreign exchange reserves, the bank lending rate, the impact of wages on employment, and efforts to prevent wage-push inflation. As a result of the new changes, the general minimum wage has risen from 90,000 kwacha to 126,000 kwacha per month. The minimum wage for domestic workers has gone up from 52,000 kwacha to 72,000 kwacha, 800 kwacha, while employees in micro-enterprises will now receive a minimum of 105,000 kwacha, up from 75,000 kwacha monthly. Tandu Mzumala has more details in this report.
The government has also revised the minimum wage for truck drivers. For those operating international trucks with a capacity of 30 tons or more, the monthly wage has been raised from 234,500 to 328,300. Local truck drivers will now earn a minimum of 234,500, up from 167,500. Meanwhile, drivers of trucks weighing less than 30 tons will receive 140,700 per month, an increase from the previous 100,500. Additionally, a new wage category has been introduced for shop workers employed in retail businesses with an annual turnover of 500 million kwacha or more. The minimum monthly wage for employees in this category has been set at 150,000 kwacha.
It is a criminal offense for employers not to stick to the minimum wages. And so as a ministry, we also ensure that we intensify inspections, moving around the workplaces to see whether there's compliance to not only the minimum wages, but a number of laws that employers are supposed to adhere to.
However, the Malawi Congress of Trade Unions MCTU President Charles Kumchenga has expressed dissatisfaction with the new rates, stating that they were advocating for a 100% wage increase.
Government, they have considered also other areas, and as MCTU we also looked at other angles. So I think we needed to meet somewhere so that we can appreciate why government has decided to increase by 40% instead of perhaps 90 or 80. So I think on that one we'll come back to you.
The Employers Consultative Association of Malawi, ECAM, which had initially proposed 30% wage adjustment, is withholding comment until it consults its members, according to Executive Director George Kaki.
One of the things that we can confirm at the moment is that yes, there were consultations that were done. And again, we have seen further sectorization of the minimum wages by including shop workers, which was one of the requests that we made to government. So, but generally, as to the reaction on the increase, we reserve our comments for now until we consult our constituents.
The adjustments come amid growing pressure from workers in both the public and private sectors who have been demanding pay raises due to the rising cost of living. The continued increase in prices of basic goods and services is making life increasingly difficult for low-income earners.
Citizens in Malawi are urging the government to take immediate action to address the worsening current fuel crisis, which has now entered its second week. The situation is affecting various parts of the country, including Lilongwe, Kasungu, and Zomba. Emmanuel George has the details.
Motorists and business owners are feeling the pinch, with many struggling to access fuel. Luntha TV visited several fuel stations in Lilongwe, including petrol fuel stations near Kamuzu Central Hospital, where long queues of cars were waiting to refuel. Other stations, such as Puma at Crossroads Hotel and Toto near 7-Eleven, ran out of the fuel. Emmanuel Nasala, a motorist, shared his struggles with Luntha TV. The fuel crisis has caused a lot of stress and depression for us taxi operators. He said, "We are struggling to buy fuel and it's affecting us both physically and emotionally."
Me as a driver, it has affected me a lot because we are buying black market fuel, which is too expensive, so we are not benefiting. Instead, we are making losses as drivers.
A woman who opted for anonymity also shared her experience.
As a mother, I'm spending a lot of time queuing just to purchase fuel. This has affected not only my business, but also my family.
The government has also claimed that there are sufficient fuel stocks in the country, with the government spokesperson Moses Kunkuyu telling the Nation newspapers that only few fuel stations have run out of the commodity. However, citizens are skeptical and want to see action taken to address the crisis. Efforts to speak to Malawi Regulatory Authority MERA spokesperson Fitina Konje were unsuccessful as her phone was not available for a comment. The lack of clarity on the situation has only added the frustration and uncertainty faced by motorists and businesses. As the fuel crisis continues to worsen, citizens are calling on the government to take urgent action to address the situation and ensure that fuel is available to those who need it. The crisis is having a significant impact on the economy and the people's lives, and resolution is urgently needed. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Juocha.
First state witness in the MACE certificate case involving opposition Democratic Progressive Party DPP Vice President for the Central Region Alfred Gangata has given his testimony on Tuesday before Chief Resident Magistrate in Lilongwe. One of the defense lawyers, Kim Jesus, says the witness will be cross-examined on May 27th, while State Prosecutor Levison Mangani says the state is ready to parade all the aimed witnesses in the matter. Robert Edward with the details.
During the examination in chief of the first witness in the matter, Elia Mpamba, defense lawyer Kwimanchiz objected to the witness using what he called a strange document, not to the knowledge of the defense, which the Chief Resident Magistrate Austin Band agrees with the defense and directed that state can apply to tender the document before using it. However, according to State Prosecutor Levison Mangani, the witness proceeded with his testimony on Tuesday without the contested document, and that the state has always been ready with all the 8 witnesses.
We have always been prepared for this case, and as you heard in court, we served the disclosures in February, and we have been ready. But I think there are just one particular document which came in between, found in between. That's the one we asked the court that it be admitted. It's procedure that when you have a new document, you are supposed to ask to apply to the court if the same can form part of the disclosures.
Lawyer for Gangara, Kwimanchiz, says cross-examination of the witnesses will be done on 27th May as adjourned by the court, where the defense will test the witness testimony.
Because of testifying, we noticed that the state was bringing in a document that had not been disclosed to us, and so we objected to its use on the basis that that would jeopardize our defense, so to say. The court has agreed with us, and the document wasn't used. And the court has directed that, if anything, if the state wants to use that document, they should make a formal application for further disclosures to the court.
Defense played for an adjournment as some of the defense lawyers were not present in court. Gangara, Vice President for the opposition Democratic Progressive Party DPP for Central Region, was arrested in March for being in possession of Malawi School Leaving Certificate of Education (MSE), which he allegedly obtained illegally in 2017. For Luntha, this is Robert Edward.
You're watching news on Luntha Television. Now a reminder of the top stories. Pope Leo XIV's American roots spark hope for increased charitable giving. Government raises minimum wage by 40% effective immediately. Fuel crisis worsens, citizens urge government to act. And in international news, women in Senegal's Kedougou region risk health using mercury for gold extraction. Moving on with the news, the Medical Council of Malawi MCM has announced that it will phase out medical assistance training in the country. The announcement is contained in a letter authored by the Council's Executive Officer, David Zolowere, and it was directed to various institutions, including Gama's University of Health Sciences, Malawi University of Science and Technology, and Mzuzu University. The letter says the Council has resorted to such resolution in order to improve service quality at the primary level of health care, as it is stipulated in the Malawi 2063 vision. Herbert Katanda with the details.
The letter says the trainings of medical assistants are factored into critical resources from building a more competent and sustainable clinical workforce for primary health care. However, Zolowera said if this misalignment in training priorities persists, rural and undeserved communities will continue receiving suboptimal care. The Malawi's long-term health care objectives will be tampered with. He said the 2025 intake will be the final intake of the medical assistance training. Reacting to the development, healthcare expert George Chobe has commended government, saying this would induce the quality healthy services in the rural areas.
Most times we have seen that our health facilities, especially health centers in rural areas, are headed by medical assistants, and yet medical assistants needed further training or qualifications to reach the level of a clinical officer. But when you look at our population, the majority of the people are in rural areas.
Medical assistant training programs prepare individuals for a variety of administrative and clinical duties in healthcare settings. These programs often include coursework, practical skills training, and potentially a clinical internship to gain hands-on experience. Certification is often required for employment, and many programs prepare students for national certification exams, like the Certified Clinical Medical Assistant exams.
The Malawi Coalition of Kobaza Stakeholders and Association Makokasa is scheduled to hold a cordial meeting with the Malawi Congress Party's Youth Director on Friday, May 16th, 2025 in Lilongwe. The meeting aims to address concerns over the illegal collection of fees at various Kabaza ranks, allegedly carried out by individuals believed to be the MCP party supporters. Earlier on Tuesday morning, the Lilongwe District Commissioner summoned the Kabaza leaders for discussions after the operators informed the council of their intention to stage a peaceful protest throughout Lilongwe City. Gift Kalonga reports.
On Tuesday, May 14th, 2025, Makokasa organized demonstrations to protest the illegal collection of levies from Kabaza operators. Following notification from operators about the planned peaceful protest, the Lilongwe City Council invited Makokasa to a stakeholders meeting. Makokasa Nation Chairperson Moses Mwarabu expressed optimism ahead of a scheduled meeting with MCP's National Youth Director, MP Stephen Malondera, stating that he hopes the situation will be resolved amicably.
Initially, we planned to do demonstrations, but today, after discussions with the district council and other stakeholders, we have postponed the demonstrations. Because on Friday, we are going to have further discussions with the director of youth from ruling government, ruling party. So after discussions, if we are going to agree what we want the government to do for us, it means we're no longer going to do demonstrations.
Mwarabu noted that such practices are deeply troubling and risk damaging the reputation of both the party and its president. The meeting is set for Friday, May 16, 2025, where Kabaza representatives will engage with the MCP Youth Director to seek constructive solutions to the issue. The meeting is set for Friday, May 16, 2025, where Kabaza representatives will engage with the MCP Youth Director to seek constructive solutions to the issue. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
In sports, the Football Association of Malawi Farmers announced the kick-off of the NBS Bank National Division League on May 24, 2025 at the Mchinje Community Center ground. With a 1 billion kwacha sponsorship from NBS Bank for 3 seasons, the league will feature 12 teams from across the country's 3 regions, serving as the second-tier competition below the Tianam Super League. Patrick Pupa has more in this report.
All is set in the NBS Bank National Division League as Football Association Malawi introduces the tournament at the second-tier competition for the first time in Malawi football history. The competition will feature 12 teams from the country's 3 regions. Football Association Malawi President Fleet Duhaya said recently FAM doubled the subvention fee for each participating team from 7.5 million kwacha to 15 million kwacha. Haya emphasized the importance of the second-tier league that will enhance competition of the log game.
For us all, we are very excited. It's something that we have been waiting. If indeed we are to professionalize our league, there was a need to introduce a second tier of the league. You can agree with me that previously, all teams which were qualifying maybe from the legions and going to the Super League, the performance was not that good, to the extent that each and every season, 1 if not 2 teams who have just been maybe elevated to the league, they were knocked off. It's all because maybe they never had that experience. But the coming in of National Division League, we believe that is going to bring more competition to the Super League. And not only that, we are saying that the coming in of NBS National Division League is also going to make our football develop.
NBS Bank Chief Operations Officer Shadrack Chikusiro said they believe they made the right choice to partner with FAM in its football transformation agenda.
We are very excited with the fact that this league is kicking off. I must say that when the FAM president and his team came to us to brief us in terms of the concept that they have to transform football in Malawi, and brought the concept of the National League, and it's significant in terms of our tiers of football leagues, and the sort of impact that the league will have on the quality of our football, we felt that it was a cause that we needed to jump in and assist.
Villa United and Mitundu Baptist will officially launch the inaugural NBS Bank National Division League. Football Association Malawi has advised teams to ensure that at least 30% of the team squads should have players aged 20 and below. NBS Bank National Division League has replaced the regional football leagues such as Thumbs Up from Southern Region, Chipego Premier Division from the Central, and Simso from the Northern Region. National Division League top 3 teams will qualify for the 2026 Tianam Super League, while bottom 4 teams will be relegated to the regional leagues. For Luntha News, this is Patrick Pupa.
And in other news, in Senegal's Kedougou region, women continue to use mercury to extract gold from ore, even though it poses a very healthy dangers. This toxic substance is a powerful neurotoxin that can lead to permanent brain damage, developmental issues, and various other health complications. More details in this African News report read by Fales Chizombe.
Many other women handle mercury electrically without gloves or masks, mixing and molding it with their bare hands, exposing both themselves and their children to serious danger. Mercury exposure can result in severe health issues, including brain damage, developmental impairment, and the loss of vision, hearing, and motor coordination. The toxic metal easily contaminates the environment, spreading through air, water, and soil, and can pollute livers and enter the food chain. Pregnant and breastfeeding women face heightened risks as mercury can pass through the placenta and be transmitted via breast milk. Safe alternatives to mercury exit, such as gravity-based methods, using equipment like shaking tables. Although the Senegalese government has pledged to introduce mercury-free gold processing facilities, implementation has been slow.
That Africa News report read by Fales Chizombe also brings us to the end of our today's edition of news, but let's have a recap of the top stories before we go. player of the 14th American routes spark hope for increased charitable giving. Government raises minimum wage by 40% effective immediately. Fuel crisis worsens, citizens urge government to act. And in international news, women in Senegal's Kédougou region risk health using mercury for gold extraction. You've been with me, Charity Shilanga. Thanks so much for keeping me company and continue enjoying the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. Goodbye.